something worthy of note, and I probably will never ever do it, is if you repack bearings, you're essentially trying to drive out the used grease out through, and you'll eventually see the color change as it passes through the slot. Get it up here, the slot here, as you push the grease through. But in this case, I've already got it all loaded up with grease. There's nothing more I need to do. It's fully in there. So at this point, yeah, you can see it pushing through the slots. And at this point, I am pretty much ready to drop this in here. Pull this back out over here. Yeah, I'll clean up the mess I've made here. So I've sprayed a little brake cleaner here. I'm just going to go around the disc. I don't have any in the backside that's dirty. Clean off this excess here. And now I'm going to drive in the new seal, since the bearing just lays in there, and it will only clamp in once I tighten the spindle nut once everything's assembled. So we'll just do that right now. There are seal drivers you can use, and I'll see if I've got one that's a large enough diameter to press down here and not hurt the seal. I want to leave the seal as clean and as intact as possible. Well, the good and bad news is that my driver kit here is too small, but I did find the handle, so I just have to tap this in with the ball peen hammer. Just drive it in. If not, I'll use a large socket. It's going in, just slowly but surely. So yeah, it turned out it needed a lot of convincing, but I finally got it in there. When you hear that sharp sound, you know you've bottomed out. I know that's kind of loud, but notice I'm not hurting the seal. The seal is fine all the way around, so it's all good. And we're ready to proceed. Okay, so we're running out of time and we're running out of light, but I'm going to put a little grease on the spindle, and then we'll put the the disc on. All right, a little bit better lighting there. Not great, but certainly viewable. So I'm going to put a layer of grease all around, a little bit on the outer edge, so the seal gets just a lip there. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna put the excess back in. Gonna make a big mess. Drop the glove and bring the wheel in. Try to give it a little bit of neutral force coming in here. There, it's definitely in there. I'm gonna let it's just drooping down a little on the outer axle. So the next thing to do is pack the bearing for that. Same technique as I used on the other, which I won't show on camera. We'll slide it in, and I'll clean off the nut and washers and the castellated nut and screw that in. Then I got to set the torque specs. Okay, so I'm going to center this up, slide this in. It's been fully greased and it's seated well in there now. And then I'm going to go wipe a little of the excess off here, push it in there, and got plenty of grease on the other side, on the back side, plenty on the front side. I've greased inside, greased the spindle on both of sides. So the next thing to do, take the dirty greasy gloves off, wipe off a little of the excess here. I've already straightened out my cotter pin, but I can't put the cotter pin in until I torque this, so I'm going to put the screw, the washer, the nut, and then torque it, and then the castellated nut, which just lays in there, holds everything in place, and then the cotter pin. I've got all my 4 items: washer, nut, castellated nut and cotter pin. So they're all ready to go. First thing goes in is the washer, which is got a slot or a flat on both sides so it fits in there nicely. Then we screw the nut in. And this nut's in really good shape, so sorry, I had to push that back a little bit more. So I need to screw that in now. Okay, this is the right nut. So I'm just gonna spin this thing on first, and then I have to set the right amount of torque, which gives the bearings just a little bit of preload. Okay, I can feel it snugging up here. At least it's threading on. And I need to check the torque spec, so I'm going to go off and do that. Yeah, that's pretty much tight, so I'll do that next. Okay, well, I seem to have my camera battery situation sorted. So what you have to do here is torque this to 17 to 25 foot-pounds while rotating the spindle in the opposite direction, which is fine. That's what we're going to do. That's what we are doing. This thing's still spinning on, yes, so eventually it'll torque down some more. Thought I was spinning it, I wasn't. Okay, there's 17 to 25 inch-pounds. Now they tell you, back the nut off half a turn. That's about half a turn right there. Now you have to torque it forwards 18 to 20, or 18 to 20, 12 to 18 inch-pounds. Well, that's barely anything. It's like that. That's a pound, and that's 18 inches long. I put about a pound on it. There's no more, no less. There should be 0 to 5/10 of an inch of play. 5/1000. I might back this off just a wee bit. I don't have an inch-pound. I'm just taking it off a little. And just, it spins free, it's not bound. Gets about a half a turn in, it's not loose. I'm going to call that good. And then I'm going to put the castellated nut on right here. Let's get it in camera range. Sorry for the glare. And let's get it lined up. It is lined up for a cotter pin. So the cotter pin drops in, and I can pull the cotter pin sideways so that when I pull it back, it doesn't get in the way of the grease cap that I'm going to be putting over this to protect it. So I'm going to stop now and tap that on, and then we're done with this side of the wheel. Okay, the very last thing I'm going to do is put a little more grease in here just to give it something to have. The cotter pin's in, the castellated nuts, or whatever you call it, the cover nut is in. So I'm just going to place that over the top so that I don't dent it anymore like everyone else has. I'm using a rubber mallet. It seats in just fine. I don't put any more dents in the seal. And that's already bottomed out. So that's not going anywhere. This side is done. I just have to put the calipers on. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'll do that with a little more daylight. Alright, we're going to start with taking the caliper, and we're going to push the caliper back in as far as it can go. There's always a little residual pressure. And then attach the brake shoes, discs, pads, whatever you want to call them. Brake pads. And they're brand new, and I checked them and they match. So let's start with that. I think I can actually put the pads on first and then slide the calipers over them. We'll see how that goes. Okay. First job is to just take the back pad out, and I believe the clips come out. So there, just pivot it off. I'll leave that back clip on. Put the back pad back on the way it came out, which would be like this, and slide it in there. It's a little tricky. It's a lot of fun. Yes. We'll figure it out here. Okay, I got it slid into the bottom one. There's two types of brake pads. One, the inside one doesn't have a bracket on it, or a spring-loaded clip. The outside one does, and that spring-loaded clip attaches to the across the inside of the caliper. So we'll work that out. See if I can get it in a decent angle here and not have glare. That would be the best place right there, but I don't really have anywhere to hold the light. There. It's a bit of a cramped situation. Yeah, we got dogs here. So this clip has to go up in here, which it is, and then this side lays in there, and there, it slid right in. That in there? No. I gotta snap it over the front of it. I'm cutting myself. It's just over the lip of it here. There, it's pretty much in. So I'm a little confused, but that's all right. That's laying flush. Good. Then we'll put the other one in on the other side and get it to lay flush. And that would be here. That's flush. That's in. Well, they're not sliding over, but they're not. I'm not a real... I'm sure there's a technique that I'm not applying here that would work better, but... There we go. This one's going to be challenging, I can tell already. Okay, what you'll see, the problem is I got to get that clip over the lip here, and let's see if I can get a little bit better light on it here. It's getting dark, of course, and once I get that over there, it'll slide in. So I'm working on that next.